Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are gonna build a simple portfolio website using HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. That's right, there will be no media queries, no complex CSS, just the basics. This tutorial is perfect for those who already have some basic knowledge of HTML, CSS, and want to learn how to use Bootstrap to create a stylish and responsive portfolio site. If you're new to HTML and CSS, don't worry, but keep in mind that this tutorial assumes some basic understanding of these technologies. So let's get started. So by the end of this video, we'll be creating this website with just HTML, CSS, Bootstrap. And as you can see, and it's also responsive, no media queries, no complex CSS, just Bootstrap, as you can see. And let's get started. So I'll be using the Visual Studio Code editor. If you don't have it installed, please, I'll link it in the description so you install it in your PC. I'm just going to click on this. All right, this is Visual Studio Code, which we'll be using to build this simple portfolio website. Before we get started, I'm just going to create our folder. So you can go to any part of your choice. So I'm just going to create a new folder. I'm going to say portfolio website 2. And you can name this any folder of your choice. You can name it any folder of your choice, but I'm just going to stick with portfolio website 2. And I'm going to just open folder. And I'm just going to navigate to where I save it. So your website to select folder and boom. So I'm just going to, trust authors, maximize. And I'm just going to create a new file, a new HTML file. So I'm just going to come here and click new file and I'll say HTML. I'm going to say index.html and enter. And I'm just going to bring out the basic structure by hitting the exclamation, and I'm going to bring out the HTML basic structure, and I'm just going to change the title real quick to portfolio sites. Yeah, portfolio sites. Bootstrap portfolio sites. Yes. So that's the title. So let's go ahead to build our site. So it's just going to be the landing page. First thing first, we are just going to create our CSS file. So I'm just going to come here and say new folder, CSS. And inside the CSS folder, I'm going to create a new file again. I'm going to say styles.css. And I'm just going to link this real quick to our HTML so that we can be able to use CSS. And we'll say link CSS styles. So I'm just going to navigate to, we'll just see /CSS. Now I'm in the CSS folder and the styles.css file. So let's quickly link on Bootstrap so we get started. So I'm just going to go to Bootstrap site. Let me just close this real quick. We're going to go to Bootstrap, search for Bootstrap. Yeah, so I'm just going to click on this and we are in Bootstrap site. So I'm just going to copy the CDN link. So I'll just go into docs and you can see the CDN links. So the downside of this is it can only work when you have your internet connection. So if it's not going to work if you don't have your internet connection. So, but I just feel it's easier, just link it to your file and you start using Bootstrap. So I'm just going to copy this, Ctrl+C, and come to my code editor above our main CSS. I'm going to say link CSS. I'm just going to paste it, the URL here in this href. So Ctrl+V. Yeah, so we have Bootstrap in our website. So I'm just going to copy the JavaScript as well. So I'm just going to copy the JavaScript. Sorry, I didn't make mention there will be no JavaScript here in this tutorial. So it's just going to be pure HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap, no JavaScript. So I'm just going to say scripts. src, that's the source, and paste the link there. And yeah, so we are good to go. I'm just going to create a header tag. So I'm just going to give it an ID of one header. So inside there, I'm going to create a navigation. I'm just going to go to Bootstrap and get one of the code for their nav. So this is nav bar. So I can just copy the nav bar here. I think I will go with this. So copy this. Just going to paste it here. So yeah. So let me just quickly indent this. So if I open with live server, so you can see we have our nav bar here and we have nav links and everything. So we're just going to style this real quick. So I actually want the nav bar with the image. So I'll just go to Bootstrap again, and this is it. So I'm just going to copy this. Actually, I don't need that. I just actually need this, the A tag. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm just going to come to my code editor and let me turn on Bootstrap. Perfect. So I'm just going to come here and paste it, replace my navbar brand with this. So I'm just going to paste it here, and yeah, so let me just indent this real quick. So we should have the image with the brand. So, but I want to swap the positions actually. So the image is not loading. I actually want to use another image, that's why. So I'm just going to cut this and I'm just going to paste it here. Yeah, and I'm going to change this to OY designed. Actually, yeah, so let's see. Perfect. So I want to change this logo as well. So I'll just come to flat icon to get the Nigerian flag. So flat icon, this is it. So I'll just go to the site and I'll search for the Nigerian flag. Nigerian flag. So this is the Nigerian flag. I'm going to be using this one. So I'm just going to copy the image address. Check this. I'm just going to copy the image address and I'm just going to replace it with this here. So we have this. So I want to actually make the brand bold. So I'm just going to come here and add the Bootstrap class, which is the first way. So FW bold to make it bold, and let's see. So you can see now it's bold, and I'm going to make the font size bigger. So font size 1, FS1 to make it big. So it's 1 to 6. So I think 1 is the biggest. So we have this brand. Yeah. So that's that. And I'm going to change the height and width. Actually, the height only to 30. Yeah. So perfect. That's that for the brand. So I'll just come to my nav links and we're going to change this hash to index.html, so that once I click on it, it's redirect us back to the home page. So I'm going to I actually want to push the links to the right hand side here. So we are going to use the margin auto, and we're just going to come to the UL itself, which is in our nav. And I'm going to change this using the Bootstrap class to ms margin, that's margin start auto. So let's see. So you see it pushes this to the right hand side because we give it a margin start of auto. So let me just quickly change this. So change this to about, this to education. Sorry if I can spell education, and I don't want the disabled, so I'm just going to remove this, Ctrl+Shift+K, and I'm just going to copy this, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, change this to project. Lastly, I'm going to change this to contact. And yeah, we are done with the navigation. As you can see, so we have a perfect navigation here. We are done with that as far as Bootstrap and HTML is concerned. So let's work on the CSS. Let's go to the CSS. So first of all, I'm just going to do some styling real quick. So this asterisk means all the elements in our web page. So border, none. I don't want them to have borders. Outline, none, sorry about my spelling, and box sizing, border box, body as well. So margin 0, padding 0, and background color. So we are going to be using the CSS variables, and we have the BS. So it's already a built-in variable with Bootstrap in which we can use BG sub2. So you'll see right now. So once you go to our site, you can see we have this kind of like grayish background on our body. So I'm going to be using that. I'll actually want to create some classes which we'll be using. So BG indigo. So background color var. So this is CSS variables. So also a built-in variable with Bootstrap. So we have indigo. So dots text indigo. So this is from text that I want them to have the indigo color. So text BS indigo. Also text emphasis. So I'm just creating some classes in which we'll be using in our HTML just to save us some time. So color var BS text emphasis text. So text secondary subtool. So color will be var BS secondary BG subtool. Sorry, don't BG purple. So background color BS purple. And lastly, the gradients. So dots gradient, background image, linear gradients, 170 degrees. So 70 degrees, var BS purple, and 20%, var BS indigo, and 80%. So let me just do a quick overview. So this, if I want to use the background indigo, it's a built-in Bootstrap CSS variable. So that's why I use the var BS indigo. The text as well, text indigo is if I want to make the text indigo in color. So I use the color of var BS indigo. Text emphasis, if I want to use a kind of dark blue. Text secondary subtool, also kind of like the grayish background that we give the color, but we want the text to have that color actually. So that's why the text secondary subtool. So the BG purple is for background purple, and the gradient is for combining the purple and the indigo. I want to give some spacing. And this is too close to the body. This is too close. I want to give some spacing. So I'm just going to create a class. I'm going to say dot section container, and I'm going to say padding 1%, 7%. So I'm just going to copy this so I don't make any typo. So Control C, and I'll go to my HTML. So I'm going to paste it here in the container fluid. Actually, I have to place it here so that at the beginning, So Control V, and if we check, yeah, so you can see we have given it some spacing. So that's that for the navigation bar. Let's style our page further. So let's add some stuff. I'm now going to come to the HTML, and I'm going to create a new section now. Say section. I am going to give it an ID or banner. So I'm just going to say dot container fluid, hit enter, and I actually want a dark background, so I'm going to say BG dark, and if we preview, nothing has changed yet because there's no content inside this div. So first thing first, I want to style my container fluid as well. I want to give it some default padding, so I'm just going to say dot container fluid. Just going to say padding 2rem, top and bottom 2rem, 7% left and right. So if I go to my browser, so you can see it here, it's a dark background because of the padding we give it. That's why you can see it now. So I actually want the text inside the dark background to be white, to be light. So I'm just going to use the text light, which is the built-in Bootstrap class for text light, and I'm going to say border button. So this actually border BTN a class that I created on my own, which I'll be styling by myself. So I'm just going to take this, just going to cut it, take this to the front. So inside this, I'm going to create a row, .row. This helps us in building responsive flexbox components in our website. So we use the .row. So .col MD8. The screen is divided into 12 units. The whole screen is divided into 12 units. So what this means is it's creating a div that takes 8 units for medium screen. So this MD means for medium screen and above. It usually happen when it's at the medium screen and above. So I'm just going to hit enter. Inside this, I'm going to create a p tag. It should have the text indigo, which we already created earlier. So does text indigo. We don't want any margin because the p tags come with a default margin, so we don't want the margin button. So I'm going to say MB0, which is a default Bootstrap class to remove margins. So hi there, and if we check, you can see it there. I'm going to place my VS Code and my browser side by side so that you guys will see in real time how it's happening. So I'm just going to come here and I'm going to put it here, and VS Code here. Perfect. So I'm just going to press Ctrl B to remove this. So you guys will see in real time how it's happening. I'll just come here and say H1. So H1 tag, Lucky, a web developer. So I've add some text there, as you can see, just in brief intro. I'm Lucky, a web, actually a web, not web developer, graphic designer, programmer, and gamer. Welcome to my portfolio. I'm going to create another p tag, .need, and .mt3, that's margin top 3. So I'm just going to generate random text for a brief intro. So I'm just using rem 10. Yeah, so we have this brief intro here. I'm just going to add 2 call to action buttons. So I'm just going to say a tag. So inside the a tag, we have this href, so it's not going to redirect us anywhere. I'm going to give it a class btn so that it looks like a button. So I'm just going to come here and say bg purple, which we already created in our css earlier on. bg purple rounded 0 to remove the border radius. These are the Bootstrap class. So I'm going to give it mt5 to give it margin top of 5. Then I'm going to make it text light so that the text inside it will be light. And I'm going to write contact me inside, so you can see it here. And I'm going to say a again, a tag href doesn't redirect us anywhere. I'm just going to do the class of btn so that it looks like a button in Bootstrap class, btn outline instead of just btn. So I'm going to say btn outline purple. It's not going to work, so I'm just going to go to CSS and style this real quick. So I'm just going to come here and say .btn outline purple. Let's see, border mpx solid and var bs purple. Yeah, so on hover, I'm just going to say .btn outline purple. So on hover, so the background color should be for BS purple. And yeah, so on hover, you can see it here. On hover, it becomes purple. So I'm just going to come to my HTML. Just going to give it rounded 0. So remove the border radius, MT5, text light, and MS3. So margin starts 3 so that there's space here. You can see it here. So I'm just going to write to view my projects. Here my projects. So we are almost done. So one last thing to do, we should actually add an image, which is my image. I'm just going to be putting it here. So I'm just going to come here and say div dot banner img container. So that's for the image. So I'm just giving it a class. Remember, we give this one co-md8. So 12 minus 8 is 4. So let's say co-md 4. Display none by default. So this is a Bootstrap class for display none, none. But on medium screen, it should now display. So DMD block. So on medium screen, so not MS actually, DMD block. So on medium screen and above, it should display. But below medium screen, it shouldn't display. So on mobile screen, you won't see the image. But from medium screens and above, that's from tablets and to laptop screens to desktop and above, you can see the image. So I'm just going to be adding the image real quick. Just going to come here and say dot banner img. Inside it, I'm going to add img tag source. Trying to remove this. So the source, I'm going to link my image. So I'm just going to come here to my Explorer and I'm just going to create an image file. I'm going to say image folder. So inside the image folder, I'm going to be putting my image. So I'm just going to come to the project I've already worked on, which is this. So portfolio websites, images. You can see it here. So I'm just going to Control C and go to my images and Control V. So you can see it there. So I'm just going to minimize and we have our image here. You can see it here. So I'm just going to call out the image now. So I'm just going to hide this. I'm going to say /image. So we're in the image folder now and I'm just going to select the image here. And it's not going to show because we're on a small screen, but if we maximize, you can see it now. But when we minimize, it's not there again. So yeah, we're actually going to style it real quick. So let's go to our styles. Before I style the image, I don't actually like this toggler that we have here. So I'm just going to give some styling to it. Navbar toggler. So I'm going to remove the border. So I'm going to say border none. You can see it doesn't have that border before that was here, but it has a box shadow. So I'm just going to remove the box shadow as well. So on focus, so navbar toggler focus, remove the box shadow none. So we don't have this box shadow anymore. Perfect. So those border BTM. So I'm just going to say border radius 0, 0, 25 pixels, 25 pixels. So that's for the border button. You can see now we have this rounded edges here. I actually want to do for the border top as well, so that we can, because we are going to use it. So I'm going to say border top. So it's going to be the reverse of the border button. So border radius, sorry about this, border radius. So 25 pixels, 25 pixels, 00 space here. Perfect. And I want to use the border all. So to apply for all, border all. So I'm just going to say border radius 25 pixels. So it's going to apply for all edges. And let's quickly style the image. So dot banner img container. I'm going to set the isolation to isolate. So I want to isolate it so that I can be able to manipulate the stacking order. I'll just come here and say dot banner img, which is the image div that we created. So I'm going to give it background color of var bs secondary bg subtool to have this grayish background. You can see it has this background, but we are not done yet. I'm just going to give it height. I set the height to 400 pixels. Set the width to 100%. Set the position to relative, and border radius to 20 pixels. Now if we maximize, you can see, but our image is actually overlapping. We're going to fix that real quick. I want to actually create a pseudo elements first before we fix the image. So I'm just going to say dot banner img after. So I'm going to set it to position absolute. Remember, it's because of it's relative to this parent container banner img. That's why it's in the position absolute. Contents to empty put. Set the width to 100%. Set the height to 100%. Set the top to -2.5%. Set the left to -2.5%. So let's add the background color to var bs purple. And if we maximize, you can see now, but it's above this. So we'll set the z index. So let's give it a negative z index so it goes behind the gray background. So I'm going to say z index. So just going to change this to -1. So once we give it a negative z index, now you can see it's behind it now. So let's give it border radius of 20 pixels. And yeah, so we have this box here behind the gray box, just for aesthetics. Let's actually style the image so that it's not overlapping. So let's give it dot banner img, then the img inside it, the img tag inside the banner img class, max width 100%, and height 100%, and object fits, set this to cover. And if we check now, you can see, let's set the aspect ratio. It's going to set the aspect ratio to 16:9. So once I set the aspect ratio, you can see now it's now presentable. So that's that for the banner. And you can see it's responsive. So once we inspect, you can see. That's for the banner. So let's move to the about. So I'm just going to minimize this real quick so that you guys will see in real time what is happening. So I'm just going to come to this section here, create a new section, give it an ID or of about actually small e. Yeah, I'm just going to come here and say dot container fluid, and inside the container fluid, and I'm going to say dot deflex, because this is a default Bootstrap class that uses the display flex as its display. So deflex. So I actually want 3 divs inside this for some aesthetics. So I'm just going to say div multiply by 3. You can see. So I'm just going to give this one a class of rounded circle, actually, because I want it to be circle. And the circle bg dark, I'm not going to say anything yet until we give it a padding. So padding 2. So you can see it now. So this rounded circle made it circle, and margin for the left and right, mx, which is the x-axis. So for the left and right, we want 2. I'm just going to copy this. And I'm just going to paste it here. So we have 3 of them. But I actually want to change the color, so I'm just going to change it to BG purple, which we already created. So you can see BG purple here. The last one should be green, so I'm just going to change it to success, which is the Bootstrap class for green success. So yeah, we are done with that. So I'm just going to create a h3 tag and h3 tag. I'm going to say class py. So for the top and bottom, which is the y-axis, py3. So that's the padding, top and bottom 3, about me. So sorry, I was typing in the class. I'm just going to cut this and paste it here, through me. And yeah, so we have the about me here. So I'm going to use the text emphasis which we created. So to have this dark blue kind of color. So text emphasis, if I can spell, and then does lead. And so let's add some content. So I'm going to M70, and let's see. So we have contents. So this lead, if we remove it, you're going to see the default p tag. That's it. I don't really want this. I actually prefer the lead, so I'm just going to add the lead back so you can see. So that's that for the about me section. So let's create a new section again. So let's see section. I'm going to give it an ID of skills. So my skills, I'm going to come here and say dot skills container. The skills container. So we are going to actually style this by ourselves. So dot bg dark for a dark background dark. Then dot container fluid, and border all, which we already give. So border all. Nothing's going to happen because there's no content inside. So I'm just going to say dot deflex, then padding bottom 3, which is the PB3, then justify content, and because I want it to go to the right side, so I'm just going to just copy this real quick. Copy these 3 stores here, and I'm just going to paste it here. Control V. You can see it here. I'm just going to change this guy here to lights and delete this. Sorry about this. So you can see, yeah. So instead of having black here, we'll have white here for the dark backgrounds. And you can see the border all for all the borders. So yeah, let's add content. Let's say h3. So the h3 shall have a class of py3, that is padding top and bottom 3, text end, which is on text align right, that's the meaning of text end, text align right in CSS, then dot text lights, which is for light text. So yeah, I'm just going to say my skills. Actually, this is at the wrong place. I'm just going to cut this out, Control X. And I'm just going to paste it here. Yeah, so you can see it here, my skills. So dot rule, So for the responsive flexbox, which is .row here, co.column MD. So for medium screen and above, it should take 3 units. That's the meaning, 3 units of the 12 units that we have available, leaving us with 9. So we are going to create a banner IMG container, or we are just going to copy this, the one that we had. Yeah, you can see it here. So we're just going to copy this. So I'm just going to shrink this and collapse it. And I'm just going to copy, Control C, and I'm just going to paste it here so that we have the image here. But we are going to change the classes. So for the banner IMG container, actually we don't want all this. So we're just going to remove this. That's in the image here. Yeah, so I'm going to say margin top and bottom 3. The width should be 75. Yeah, margin auto just to centralize it. But for big screen, I don't want the margin auto. So what I can do is, it should be margin auto by default, but for medium screen and above, it shouldn't have a margin. So for medium screen, so M, that's the margin, MD. For medium screen and above, it should be 0. So once you go, you can see there's no margin. But for the small screen, you can see now it has this margin auto. So that's that for the image. So let's add the second class, which is the one with the 9 units. So I'm just going to say div.dmd. So for medium screen and above, it should have a flex display and .cool md 9, which is the remaining 9 units from our 12 units. my3 margin top and bottom 3 units, 3 actually in Bootstrap, which means 1 rem. Then p0 padding 0. So inside it, we're going to create a class of bgdark. So .bgdark.cool. So inside this, you should have cool md4 4 units. Then .textlights padding top and bottom 3 units. Sorry, left and right 3, not 3 units, 3, which is 1 rem. Then by default, but for large screen, it should be, so for large screen and above, so pxlg should be 5. Then padding top and bottom should be 4. And lastly, you should have a box shadow. So I'm just going to say shadow. Let's see how it looks. So I'm just going to say H3 gaming. Just going to come here and say p tag. And I'm going to give it a class of display 4 to make it bigger. So in Bootstrap, display 4, 25%. And you can see it here. Good. I'm now going to give another p tag with a class of text secondary subtool, text secondary subtool, which we created earlier. So I'm just going to say norem 10 for some text inside there. Let's go on and create the rest. So I'm just going to copy this, Control C, Control V. Then I'm going to change this. So we have the duplicate here, which is fine, but we are going to change this actually to BG lights because we want a light background. Then we can change the text to dark to create contrast. We can change this text secondary subtool. Let's remove this so that it's dark by default. Let's change this gaming to graphics design. And change this to 50%. Lastly, let's add another. So I'm just going to paste this here again. We want the success, so which is the green, so success. And you can see it here, green. Let's change it to web development. And let's change this to 75%. And that's that for this. So let's preview it. So remember, we gave it the flex. So for medium screen and above, it should have this flex, but for small screen, it should be by default display block. So for medium screen only, it should have this flex display, but when you shrink it to small screen level, it should stack on each other, as you can see. So I actually want to add some style to it, a light effect. So I'm just going to come to this place here after the display flex, the main container. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say dot light effects. So we're actually going to style this in our CSS. So I'm just going to come to CSS. Okay, I'm sorry, I made mention of the isolate property, which I didn't show you guys. So I'm just going to show you guys real quick. So if I comment this isolate property, just watch what is going to happen to our image. Sorry, not the image. That purple box that was here is going to go because of the stacking order, the position absolute, and the negative Z index that we gave it. So it went far to the bottom. So let me just show you something real quick. So if I come to my HTML, come to here, and remove this dark background as a BG none, you can see that it went to the far. You can see it went to the far bottom. So we use the isolate so that we can make it have its own stacking order. So I'm just going to minimize this here. So that's why we use the isolate. So once we bring back the isolate and remove this and change to BG dark, and if we maximize, you can see now it's back. So that's the use of the isolate property. Let's add the light effect. So I'm just going to come here. I'm going to say light effect dot light effect. So let's give it position absolute bottom 0. Before giving this position absolute, you need to make the parent container relative. You have to find the parent container, which is skills container. So I'm just going to copy this, which is the parent container. Copy this, and I'm going to come here above it. I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to say position relative isolation isolate, and I'm going to come here and say bottom 0, left 50%, so it goes 50% from the left. Let's transform it back. So transform, translate. So we want to translate it, translate X actually. So minus 50%. I'm just going to show you guys what that means. Well, let's keep on styling. So translate X, give it height of 100%. Height of 100%. Nothing is still going to happen. So let's give it width of 100%. And let's give it a background image. So radial gradient. So add 50%. At 50%, 100%, 100% for ODS indigo 20%. So 80%. And let's reduce the opacity to 0.5. Lastly, let's take the Z index to -1, index -1, so it goes behind it. So yeah, so the translate X was to translate this back to the center. So let's comment this and you see. So if we comment this, and if you can see it here, to this place, it's moved 50% from its origin. This is origin somewhere around here. So it's moved 50% left, but to translate it back so that we want it to be centered horizontally. So we use the transform translate. It's become centered horizontally, as you can see. We gave it a radial gradient. So as 50%, that means to the left 50%. So we want it centralized horizontally, and 100% we want it to start from the bottom here. We gave it the two colors, indigo, and transparent. This actually means transparent. This is a hex. So for transparent, so 80%. So you can see we have this beautiful light effect. So let's preview our page so you can see it. Let's go to our HTML now and create a new section for my education. So I'm just going to come here and see. So let's go down and create the education section. So section. So I'm going to give it an ID of education, container fluid. So does container fluid. I'm just going to copy this light effect that we have here, Control C. Yeah, and I'm just going to paste it here and change this to BG dark. So, and I'm just going to come here and say H3 and give it a class of PY3 and say education, remove this justify contents end, and it's going to come here. Perfect. Also remove this padding button 3. Let's come here and see does the flex wrap, because we want it to wrap to the next line. Those that are familiar with CSS know what flex wrap. So we use the flex wrap class in Bootstrap. And cool 8, so column 8, we didn't specify the size, whether small, large, or medium. So you're just going to take 8 units like that, whether in small, whether in large or medium screen. It's going to take 8 units. So that was cool 8. I'm just going to say H4 MB0 text emphasis, MB0 margin bottom 0, and the text emphasis. I'm going to say lorem 5 p dot lead lorem 10. So whatever you want to put here as your education, maybe your institution, and just the brief description, maybe the location or whatever. And I'm just going to add the dates. So I'm just going to come here, cool 8 and cool 4, because of it's 12 minus 8 is 4. So I'm just going to say those cool 4, and I'm going to give the p lead as well. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it here for the dates, but we're just going to remove this. We're going to use the text end property, text end class, sorry, so that to push it to the right. So text and text emphasis for that dark bluish color, and I'm just going to say 01-1999, just in default dates, as you can see it here. So I'm just going to duplicate this actually. So for those with more than how many educational backgrounds, I don't know, I'm just going to make 3, yeah, just 3 of them, so you can fill it with whatever you want. Yeah, so that's for the education. Now let's go to the next section. I'm going to create an ID. I'm going to say projects, and I'm just going to come here and say does container fluid. Actually, I want the background to be dark, so BG dark, border top, which we styled earlier on, the border top, so you can see it here. And let's actually copy this stuff. So let's copy this. So, but we have to change this to PB3 and justify contents center. Actually, I want it to be centralized this time around. So center. So you can see it here, but I'm actually going to change it to lights so that, yeah. So after this, create a H3 have a class of PY3, so padding top and bottom 3. Text center as well. text center. So it goes to the center, and text lights, my projects. I'm just going to come here and say, so you're going to create a div that has an overflow. So we have, don't worry, we have a Bootstrap class for that. So I'm just going to say class deflex, padding top and bottom 3, and overflow x scroll. So I want the overflow to be scroll for the x-axis to scroll inside there. So let's add contents. So I'm going to use the Bootstrap card. So I'm going to come here and say dot cool MD4 for medium screen T3. So let's go. So you can see our scroll bars already appeared there. And inside this, let's create a class of card. So we're using the Bootstrap card. So dot card. I'm going to actually use the inline styling. I'm going to give it a max width of 350 pixels, and the min width, so it shouldn't go above 350 pixels and it shouldn't go below 300 pixels. So min width 300 pixels, and you can see it here. Inside it, I'm going to add the img tag that has the class card img top, since we are using the Bootstrap. So the card img top, which is this. We have to actually add the source. So I'm just going to go online. I have to say web dev. So I'll just copy the development or web dev or whatever, and I'm just going to copy the image address. So I'm just going to paste it here, and let's go to our browser, and you can see there. Let's put the alternative to the image. So you can see, because we use the card img top, it's having this like kind of a card. I'm just going to show you guys what I mean. I'm just going to come here inside the card. Now I'm going to create a new div, and I'm going to give it a class of card body. Remember, we gave the card img top. Now we have the card body, so you can see this body now. So inside the body, I'm going to create a h4, and that would be the card title. Sorry, so card title. Yeah, so inside the h4, e-commerce websites, that's the title. So let's give it the card text, p.card text. We actually use Lauren for that. So Lauren, maybe 20. So 20 is okay. Just in brief description, you know. I'm going to create an a tag just to redirect the person who is interested in your project. You can put your URL there if you want it to redirect them to your actual project. So you can put your own URL there. So I'm going to say a tag. So you can put any URL of your choice, but mine is not redirecting them to anywhere. So I'll put the hash. I'm going to give it a class of icon link, and icon link hover, then font size 5, and visit. So you can see the link here for them that want to visit. Okay, let's add fonts awesome. So let's go to ChatGPT. So I'm just going to ask ChatGPT for the CDN link for fonts awesome version 6.6.0. Let's go. So this is it. So I'm just going to copy this and link it in our CSS. Before the Bootstrap And I'm just going to link it, Control V. And yeah, we have font awesome in which you can use. So I'm just going to come here and say arrow. Also want that arrow icon, which to redirect them. So I'm just going to copy the code. Let me just go back to my website so that's, perfect. So I'm just going to paste it here after the visit. You can see this arrow here now. So I'm just going to duplicate this, just going to duplicate this. If you want to add yours, you can add yours. So I'm just going to make them 6 if you have much projects. So I'll just come here, collapse this here, copy it, Control C, and paste it. As you can see now, we can scroll now. So I'm just going to paste it here again, paste it here again. So I believe that's that for the project. Let's design our call to action. So we're going to come here, say section, should have an ID of CTA call to action dot container fluid. Then inside it, we should have, so I'm just going to copy this stuff that we have been doing since. Yeah, I'm just going to copy even this as well. So Control C. And I'm just going to paste it here. I'm going to remove this. I actually want it centralized, but I will change this to dark. Yep, remove this as well. So it's lights. And change this to contact me. Contact me. So let's create a form in which they can be able to contact me. So I'm just going to come here and say form. No action. Let's remove the action. Let's give it a class, Bootstrap class of BG lights. So the form is light. Should have a padding of 4. P4. You can see it here now. Rounded 3. Do some border radius, some rounded edges, as you can see. Yep. And let's give it a shadow so that it has a box shadow. So you can see now it has a box shadow here. So let's add our input. So let's start with the label. So label, full name. So I'm just going to copy this because that's what I'm using, full name. Then we should have a class of lead. Class of lead, the label. Paste the full name, actually change this to capital F. And yeah. So full name. And let's create the inputs for it. So input type should be text by default. Yep. So ID, let's give it an ID of full name, which is this here. I'm actually typing it when I copied it. And let's make it required. So you can see the input text here. We are going to style it, don't worry about that. So let's create a span tag here. So that they will know that it's required. So let's create a span. And inside the span tag, let's press asterisk. But the asterisk should be red. So let's make this class of danger Bootstrap. So it's red. And text danger, actually. Text danger. And you can see now it's red. Yep. So let's just copy this. Let's just copy this. And let's just duplicate it for the email, for the message as well. So for the email, it is also required. And so the label is for Control D to select it. So email, and you can see we will not be using the text inputs. Actually, we'll be using the text area. And make it required. Change this to message. Name for message and ID for message. All right, let's make the rules 5. Perfect. Let's go to CSS because our form is not looking good at all. So width, let's give it a width of 80%, and margin auto to centralize it. Let's start the label. The input as well, and the text area. Let's give them display block so they take the whole line. So display block, so they start on a new line, each and every one of them, as you can see. Let's make them width of 100%. Perfect. So you can see. So for the label, install the label individually. So margin 0.75 rem. So that means 0 top, 0 left and right, and 0.75 bottom for all labels. Then input and text area. So background color for BS secondary BG sub 2. So yep, let's give them a padding of 0.5 rem, and let's create a border radius to border 5 pixels, margin 0 top, 0 left and right, then 1.5 rem, 1.5 rem bottom. And we don't have a submit button. Let's quickly add the submit button. So I'll just come here, button, type, submit. I'm going to say class, BTN dark. Let's give it rounded 0. Yeah, so submit your feedback if you want to contact me or anything, or your message or whatever. So submit it here. So that's it. So we have started the button. So that's for the contact me. So let's quickly start the footer. So we are done with the website, as you can see. So let's quickly start the footer. So section. So after the section, the footer, give it an ID of footer, class of container fluid. Let's centralize everything. So let's give this text center, and BG dark, and text light. So text align center, BG dark, and text light for white colored text. So yeah, so let's create a H3 here. H3, and let's give it a class of lead for the copyright. So copyright, let's browse the copyright symbol. Copyright symbol. So I'm just going to copy this, Ctrl C, and let's head back to my browser, to my web page, sorry, and let's paste this here. 2024 and OY design. Yep. So add my links. So I'm just going to come here and say a tag. Let's give it some style. So I'm just going to come here and say those footer icons, which we already created in our HTML. The I tags inside. Remember, the fonts also are I tags, as you can see. See them here. So they are I tags. Footer icons, then the I tag inside the footer icons. That's the meaning. So I hover. So when you hover on it, what should happen? So it should transform scale. So once we transform scale 1.2, that means 1.2 of its current size. So it should scale, you can see. So it scales 1.2. Also, should change the color var BS Indigo. So that's when you're over on it. So let's go to my Instagram. So it takes you to Instagram, to my page, and you can see my page. So please, you can show me support by following me on Instagram and follow me on TikTok as well. So this takes me to TikTok. So this is my page on TikTok. And yep, also it takes us to YouTube as well. So let's go to our browser and let's go to YouTube, and it takes us to my page on YouTube. So y'all subscribe to my YouTube, guys. Thank you very much. And we have come to the end of our tutorial. So you can see we use Bootstrap. We didn't really write any media queries. You can see it's responsive to any device. So let's inspect, and we can change this to, let's say, iPhone 14 Pro Max, and you can see this is the preview on iPhone 14 Pro Max. Responsive, no media queries, nothing. You can see perfectly working. Change this to iPad Pro. You can see on iPad Pro, responsive as well. You can see our navigation bar. It's now like the large screen. And iPhone, let's see, very small phone like the Samsung. Let's see the Samsung S8. You can see the Samsung S8 as well. So no media queries, no JavaScript, no complex CSS, just HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. And that has brought us to the end of our tutorial. If you like this tutorial, please don't forget to like, comment your thoughts on it, and also subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll be doing much more tutorials in the future. So thank you for watching, and I'm going to be uploading the code to my GitHub. So for those that want the source code, I'm going to upload it. The links will be in the description. And thank you for watching. Peace.